How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host, the Savior. Welcome back. Now today we are going to be taking a look at the new James Cameron Smurf game. So buckle in boys, because we're gonna get deep into this tentacle hentai, okay? We're gonna connect with so many wonderful creatures and learn about why nature is so lovely. So today we are going to be talking about Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, starring Greta Thunberg. Yes, it's going to be a great time.
How dare you! Blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
Hello, my name is Greta, and welcome to my oil company. I will show you around. Already at a young age, I had a love for oil.
But in all seriousness, I am actually kind of looking forward to this game, and you will be charged a ridiculous amount of money for sometimes completely broken piles of jank, because that's just the modern day gaming industry we have nowadays. So that's why I like to cover my game reviews early, based on the early game, which I sometimes get access to, or the early gameplay, and my extensive research. So buckle in, and I do hope you enjoy this review. And I've already seen a lot of people shilling for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora because Ubisoft always knows how to grease some pockets. And no, this isn't a brutally honest review, because that's bullshit, and not calling out anyone. Now, I do hope you enjoy this review of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and let me just get this out of the way. I don't hate all Ubisoft games. I know it's cool to hate Ubisoft games now, and for a fair reason, because a lot of people have got tired of the Ubisoft design. I'm one of those people, but I kind of fell out of Ubisoft a long time ago, okay, around Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, okay. For me, that was already a telltale sign. After Far Cry 4, okay, I already felt like it was getting recycled, but at this point, you know, it's just a machine, and they pretty much make the same game, copy and paste it over and over again. But let me reassure you that Avatar is actually different. It does borrow many elements that does make it feel like Avatar Far Cry skin, pretty much. It is pretty much just Far Cry Avatar, but there are differences, okay? So it isn't just a complete reskin of Far Cry. There are some differences that does make this feel like a unique game, but you can't escape that Ubisoft kind of bloated design, which lingers over it, which holds it back, but there is enough difference here that I can't just say it's a Far Cry clone, even though it does borrow many elements and it is still very much a Ubisoft game. So if you are a fan of Ubisoft games, which I am, I love Far Cry 2, I love Far Cry 3, I love even Far Cry 4, and, you know, I've enjoyed the odd Assassin's Creed, but I'm not a massive fan, and I do think their practices are greedy with microtransactions and, you know, this kind of hand-holdy design, X-ray vision in every single goddamn game. Rest assured it's here as well. And just the lack of kind of intelligence or, you know, kind of trust for the player to actually engage with the world in an organic way. I just don't really like their design philosophy, but you know, if you are a Ubisoft fan, then this is like perfect for you, because it innovates on some of the Ubisoft, you know, kind of tired tropes, but at the same time, it is still very much a Ubisoft game. So if you absolutely hate Ubisoft games, you might want to skip this one.
His name is James Cameron, the bravest pioneer. No budget too steep, no sea too deep. Who's that? It's him, James Cameron.
Systems are normal. You guys hearing the song okay up there?
James Cameron, explorer of the sea.
Yes, James, we hear the song.
So I will humbly ask that you do like this video, because I don't usually ask, but it does help out the YouTube algorithm, which I am a slave to, so I would appreciate it. And consider subscribing. It only takes 2 seconds for you guys, literally a click of a button, but it means so much to me. I put so much work and passion into my videos. If you like gaming videos, retrospective video essays, you know, deep look at games or the philosophical aspects of them, or talking about future dystopian subjects, about corporations, or just philosophical video essays about life and media, I do all of those things, so make sure that you do stick around and subscribe. Join the movement today, become a wise boy, and don't be left behind with the dum-dums, and just subscribe. And if you do want to support me, consider checking out my music on Spotify if you like cyberpunk music and the kind of soundtrack from that game. I make very similar stuff, although it's kind of a unique hybrid genre, but I'm sure you will like it. Avatar to me is a good sci-fi concept on paper, but it lacks nuance, it lacks any kind of depth or characters that I'm really interested in. The movie is pretty much eye candy, and a lot can be said, and a lot of the same stuff can be said about this game, okay? It does feel very cinematic at times, less focused on gameplay, more focused on the spectacle, the graphics. The stuff on offer here is good, and I will talk about all of that stuff. I will go into my positive and negatives. That's how I do all of my reviews. Giving you a number tells you nothing. It's a subjective opinion, and yeah, just base it on the pros and cons. Colonizing is bad. Pollution of the world is bad. Climate change is bad. And finally, as Ubisoft clearly is not sponsoring this video, consider giving a donation on PayPal. Don't use YouTube thanks as they take a massive cut, so help support this independent show, keep it alive, and drop a small donation on PayPal, or just join as a member and get access to tons and tons of extra content. So let's get into this Avatar Frontiers of Pandora review. Let's just go rapid fire, giving you bullet points, the best and the worst of this game. So the first positive is this does truly feel next gen. Of course, this is only coming out on next gen, but it really feels like a next-gen game. It really makes you feel like a giant smurf who fucking takes tons of magic mushrooms. No, but it really does feel good because the engine here is just so well done. The foliage, okay, I've been playing The Witcher, the next-gen edition at the moment, but the foliage on offer here, it just blows it all out of the water. You know, you get so stimulated. It's a little bit too much, but that's what Pandora is all about, and it just captures the essence of Pandora. The audio design here is probably the most next-gen thing about this game. I'm not exactly sure what the technique is called, but it's kind of like ray tracing for audio instead of for lighting, because everything has its own unique sound, and it never kind of loops the sound. So if you're wearing 3D earphones, and you turn off all of the HUD, which is how this game should be played, because I'll talk about that more later, the UI and stuff like that, but the audio design is just so well done. You can literally hear creatures, you know, all around you. You can actually hear the plants and the kind of rustling of, you know, foliage and trees and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't sound gamified, where it's just like a lot of background noise and it's easy to kind of pick up the kind of looped tracks. Here, everything has its own unique sound, and then they play on top of each other, and it all depends, like I said, on the weather system. That, to me, is a really amazing detail, and you can tell that they were really wanting players to be immersed in this game, because James Cameron, the people who made this game, worked so closely with the studio who produced the movie, so it's all, you know, actual canon, and you can tell they really care about making this immersive, less so much a fun game at times, but really an immersive experience, and I can't fault it for that. Also, the weather system is amazing. The way the kind of fog rolls in looks absolutely beautiful. If it's raining, you can actually fly above the clouds to get out the rain, and it, you know, it's all dynamically changing. I hope they keep that. That was there from the hands-on, but that might get eradicated. I hope it doesn't. But all of that stuff is what truly makes this game feel next-gen, and of course the graphics are shiny if you care about graphics, which you shouldn't, but there you go, it's very nice. The next positive is this is co-op, okay? So you can play this with a buddy, but you need to make sure that your gameplay is synced and you're on the same story mission, and also it is crossplay, which is super refreshing because we need more of that. We need to break down the barriers of this kind of tribalism of, you know, console war mentality or PC. Now, this is going to be 60 FPS on the Xbox X and the PS5. Like I said, of course, this is a next-gen experience. As to the bugs, I can't say that there is many bugs. Sometimes you do see some weird stuff like, you know, things just floating in mid-air, enemies kind of, you know, glitching into the wall. That does calm me down, but still, you should never pre-order games. And let's quickly talk about what you get if you do pre-order, how they absolutely screw you, because this is Ubisoft we're talking about, but please never pre-order games. It's not worth taking the risk anymore with the industry as it is now, the gaming industry. Like I said, it's all marketing, that's all it is now. They can pretty much lie to you, so it's not worth it. $200 for the Ultimate Edition, $129 for like the High Edition, I'm not sure what it's called. And then of course the standard is just the normal rate, which has of course gone up, but that's what you get for a next-gen game, I guess, because it's next-gen, and it's so big, because square mileage because square mileage equals good quality content. But yeah, the deluxe edition is literally insane. It's mostly cosmetic, digital stuff like skins, and yeah, it's pretty sad. And you get a model, of course, but for 200 buckarones, that's pretty insane if you ask me. But if you are a diehard fan of Avatar, no judgment, enjoy it. But yeah, maybe you can use that money in a better way, but that's up to you. So the next negative here, and I know I'm giving a few negatives, but I'm getting them out of the way because there is a lot of positives. Don't get it twisted, okay? I do like this game. I do think it's much better compared to all of the other Ubisoft games we've got for so many years now. So don't get me wrong, I do enjoy this game, but I don't think it's, you know, groundbreaking. I don't think this is Game of the Year by any means, or a masterpiece, or it pushes the industry forwards in any way. It is very similar stuff, but it's enjoyable, especially I think it will be more in co-op. But yeah, I'm still not absolutely sold on it. So like I said, if you like Ubisoft games, you'll definitely enjoy this. And if you loved Avatar, then you will enjoy this even more. I'm not a Ubisoft shill like a lot of these content creators who just, you know, absolutely bend over backwards in the previews, and then in the reviews, they suddenly might have a different opinion. I wonder why. But, you know, I'm not giving you polite criticism here. I'm just giving you my honest opinions on Avatar, okay? And basically, the point of this video is to find out, is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora worth it or not? The next negative is the story here. Basically, I can't judge this too harshly because I've only, you know, seen the early game, and it might get more interesting, but the characters don't seem to grip me. The story seems very generic, goody-goody. You have 3 tribes, and they are all kind of set in different biomes. And you get the biome of the original Avatar, which is all very shiny and glowy. It's very cool. I really love that kind of alien aesthetic. Then you get the kind of open plains, which is giant grasslands with these giant creatures, and you can, you know, ride horseback across these lands. And then you have the kind of misty forests, which is more vertical, and basically you can do more platforming and stuff like that. At times it doesn't feel like it utilizes the Avatar theme and being this giant blue monster, basically. But basically you just run at rocks and do a kind of awkward jump, and most of the time you can climb it. But the story here didn't really grab me because it's basically a goody-goody story of, you know, defeating the humans. All of the characters are rather boring, generic, and just kind of natives who want to defend their homeland, of course, from the evil humans. It would have been cool if they gave you 2 campaigns from the human perspective and the RV, but no, of course, they don't want to take any risks. And there isn't any kind of tribal fighting between the 2 groups, or, you know, kind of politics between the tribes. That would be interesting. Some kind of, you know, kind of consequence system, but they haven't done that. So basically, this is set before the first movie, and you've been captured by a human group, but then you escape because of the, you know, storyline in the first movie. And then you go into hibernation and you wake up like 15 years later, and basically the game here takes place when the second movie is also taking place, so it makes sense within the context. And I like how they tied it in with the movies, so it's not a complete movie tie-in, but it does make sense within the canon if you care about that kind of thing. And it's quite interesting. I just feel like they could have fleshed out that idea way more, you know, being raised by humans and hating your own kind being a kind of weapon for them. They could have, you know, made that kind of an interesting gameplay mechanic. The next thing to note is this is not completely open world, okay? This is not a sandbox open world. It is open world, of course, but it's not sandbox, because you can't just go wherever you want at the get-go. You have to progress in the storyline to unlock new areas. I really don't like that type of open world design philosophy. Sometimes it could be good, like Ghost of Tsushima, but still, even then, it's a little bit annoying because it feels more artificial, but just let that be known. So I'm sure a lot of the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora reviews are only going to focus on the positive, but like I said, I want to cover both sides to be as, you know, kind of objective as possible. So, you know, I don't hate the game, but those are kind of the main negatives. So what is good about this game? Well, a lot, because this does feel very immersive, okay? And like I said, the world that they created is just very, very breathtaking. Beautiful environments, unique creature designs that we haven't seen before. That is what Avatar is good at, seeing this type of things. The immersive audio and weather systems. Also just this kind of unique immersive hunting experience that you get being, you know, a native of this world. Basically, you can't just hunt like a complete madman and shoot things up with, you know, a 50 caliber rifle. This is very much a crafting, looting type game, which to me kind of breaks the flow of combat, but with this type of Avatar theme, it makes more sense. And I do like how they implement it here, because depending on the time of day, the weather systems, picking a fruit will either yield good result or bad result. The same with hunting, and the weather and stuff does impact, you know, how the creatures react, which I think is really cool. So on that aspect of things, it does feel very immersive, and there's kind of a unique mini game when you're picking fruit or harvesting anything. But this is a cool idea, okay? But when you're doing it over and over again, just like in Red Dead Redemption 2, it's cool on paper and immersive, but after a while it does get rather tropey and tired, I do think. They could have made that system a little bit more interesting, but I feel like it does a good job, because with the cooking system as well, which is very much kind of like a Monster Hunter cooking system, where it's very in-depth and it gives you a lot of buffs and bonuses and stuff like that. I really do appreciate that, and it ties in nicely, and to me that's where the kind of unique gameplay stuff comes in, and I do like that. But if you feel like it limits the gameplay and kind of breaks the flow of combat and stuff, then this might not be for you. But this is very much a explorative kind of harvesting nature simulator, and I really do like the fact that at times you get these random events which really make the world feel alive. You get unique quests that you just kind of stumble upon. That's what makes exploration feel good, but there isn't so much good treasure to be found or interesting weapons, because it is all rather basic. But for an immersive game, I think it does a good job if you get rid of the Ubisoft bloat and the UI and the X-ray vision and all that kind of stuff. And let's quickly talk about that, because there is X-ray vision in this game. I don't know why Ubisoft loves X-ray vision so much. Here they try and tie it in with the lore, and it does kind of make sense, but still they could have made it more interesting, especially when they built this audio design feature. They could have relied more on that, but instead it's just, you know, everything glows and you magically can see everything. Takes the fun out of it, if you ask me. And I just wish they didn't rely so much on that standard mission design of clearing out camps and stuff like that. To me, that is the most annoying thing, and it does feel very generic. But the unique systems on top of it, you know, does make it feel fresh and different. I just wish they focused more on that and took out some of the Ubisoft bloat. Also, this is a massive, massive game. I can't show you the map, of course, but I have seen the map. But all I can say is it's a very, very giant game. And square mileage to me doesn't make a good game. It's how you fill the space with good content. Just look at Starfield, okay? It's a massive universe, but if it doesn't have interesting content in it, then it's going to get boring pretty quickly. It can be beautiful, it can be whatever, graphically amazing, but there needs to be interesting content. And I do like the fact that there is this kind of random event quest content, but I don't know how much of it there is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be repeatable, kind of like, you know, AI generated in a way. I just don't know. And the side missions can be interesting. Some of the quests are just kind of generic. And of course the main missions are usually interesting. But basically you get the combat skill tree, the hunter, the rider, the maker, and basically a survival skill tree. And they're all pretty basic stuff, okay? You know, things like harvesting better fruit, some percentage bonuses and all that kind of stuff. Some cool abilities that you unlock at the end of the skill tree. For example, riding is when you're flying around on your little dragon, and that is super fun. I'll talk about that more in a second. That's probably the most fun in this game, because it just feels so great, and there's no loading screens, okay? And it does feel really next gen. I've got to emphasize how wide and open this does feel, and you will get lost in that. I just don't know how long it will hold your attention for, but yeah, the skill tree is pretty basic. You just get these kind of generic special abilities at the end of each skill tree. Some of them are cool, some of them not so much, but basically you can focus on a playstyle which is kind of light RPG-ish, I guess. Everything has to be a light RPG now, but yeah, the playstyle is pretty much the same for most players, but there's just a little bit more customization here. And speaking of customization, another positive is the fact that you can customize your own character. You can go into detail, being male or female. I wonder what else, but male and female. Yeah, you can change your skin and all that kind of stuff. So there is some nice customization on offer here. A small negative is I've seen Ubisoft saying that they have smart NPCs who react to the world around them, okay? This is marketing bullshit, okay? Let's get that clear. A lot of games emphasize that their NPCs are next level intelligence, okay? No, they're not, okay? It's not going to be anything like Rockstar or Red Dead Redemption 2 where the NPCs truly feel alive and have their own daily routines. To a degree, they might, but just rest assured that's bullshit. They might comment on a quest that you've done, something like that, but it's nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary. The combat AI, on the other hand, is pretty good, and it's not, you know, as amazing as some older games, which is still pretty shameful, but it's pretty good by modern day standards, I'll say that. They aren't just standing out in the open like Starfield NPCs, so don't worry about that. But speaking about combat, it feels good, it feels weighty, it feels very much like Far Cry combat, but it does feel very easy at times. And one thing that I really don't like is how they basically recycled content by basically when you're clearing out camps, enemies will endlessly respawn until you shut down the power. To me, that is such a stupid mechanic. It breaks immersion, and it's just a way to balance combat because at times you are overpowered, especially if you are using human weapons, and I just feel like they didn't really balance combat that well, so you will get difficulty spikes, so just be aware. So the last negative here is the fact that I just don't feel like they utilized the potential of being this giant blue badass monster that can basically, you know, just grab a human, chuck them around. It doesn't really utilize that. It does feel like a very much generic first-person shooter, very much like Far Cry with a bow and arrow. I just feel like they could have gone more crazy with it, you know, pick up enemies and rip them apart, or you know, have like some cool, interesting melee weapons and kind of like Vermintide or Dark Tide kind of combat that just lets you slash through waves of humans. That would have been much more satisfying, but they just went for a very safe Far Cry combat, and the same with Traversal. They kind of went a safe route with it. They could have added some kind of climbing feature, almost like a first-person Breath of the Wild feature where you can climb anything, but it feels a little bit janky here. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. That would make this feel truly different compared to other Ubisoft games, but sadly not. And the final positive here is flying around on your goddamn dragon. I'm not sure what it's called, sorry, I'm not a massive Avatar fanboy, but whatever it is, the one that you goddamn, you know, you get in there with, okay, you know, you connect on a level, on some hentai level, you connect with that dragon, okay, and that is cool. You build up a relationship, and it does make you invested in this little dragon that you do have. You can customize it, you can give it different cosmetics, and it's so cool just flying around on it, you know, especially with the weather system, jumping off it, and then shooting, you know, in midair, this, you know, explosive arrow and taking down a goddamn giant helicopter. That is very satisfying, okay? And that is what makes this game truly good and unique, but I just wish they went a little bit further, because then this would truly be a 100% recommendation, but I do think it is a good game. I do really hope you enjoyed this Avatar Frontiers of Pandora game review, and I truly hope it answered the question for you if Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is worth it or not, if it's worth your time and money. Let me know what you're going to do, if you're going to buy this or if you're going to wait for a sale. If you're a wise one and you're subscribed to the community, maybe you will do this as well, wait for a sale. But if you absolutely love Avatar or Far Cry, then yeah, this is of course a must buy. But I do hope you enjoyed this and that you do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.